Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lantz. And today, we have one of my good friends, Ryan. I've known Ryan for a long time, and man, we got introduced to each other thanks to anime. So, yeah, Ryan, so glad you could join us today.
Glad to be here.
Before we really get into this, you want to kind of just give us maybe a top 5 of your anime so people can get to know you a little bit better?
Sure. I'd say my top 5. Number 1 is probably always going to be Outlaw Star.
That's a
Absolute
little
favorite.
different.
Nice.
Number 2, I'd probably say Rurouni Kenshin. It's
Okay.
just classic in my opinion. Plus the live action movies they did were fantastic. As opposed
Absolutely.
to anything else that's out there for live action. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is probably number 3 on there. Bleach has got to be in my top 5.
Understandable.
And I'd say number 5 is probably a rotator. Right now, I'd say Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
Can't
Something
go
new.
wrong with that. Yeah. It's a good mix. Very good mix.
Yeah, you got a couple in there that I wouldn't have really thought about. Definitely all classics, but then you throw in, something new and modern like Jujutsu. So that's a good list.
Absolutely. I gotta stay, I feel like, eclectic in my taste. So
Mhm.
it's always
Yeah,
good to try different things.
Understandable. I know thanks to Ryan, I finally broke down and read the Bleach manga in like 2018, something like that.
I was gonna say, I think you were talking about that in like 17 or 18. So it's been quite a few years ago, but yeah, I remember you talking about it back then.
Yeah, so I do appreciate Ryan just being like, no, fucker, just read it. It's worth it. It's so good. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
As always, we have an adult beverage of choice. Lance, what are you drinking today?
Today, I am drinking something simple, Moscow Mule.
All right, so for our non-alcoholic enthusiasts, you want to break down what a Moscow Mule is?
Yep. So a Moscow Mule is just a couple shots of vodka and ginger beer, and then a squirt of lime juice. Put that all together and it tastes super good. They require it's not a requirement per se, but you should put it in a copper mug. It gives it a little bit of an extra flavor enhancer somehow, but it does feel nicer to drink out of a copper mug. And then I am drinking out of one, so of course gotta have that.
Fancy.
Absolutely.
Ryan, you drinking anything tonight?
Nothing alcoholic. We just have some Red Rock ginger ale, so it's really good.
Nothing
You
wrong with
guys-
that.
Yeah, you guys from the Midwest area, so you've heard of Verner's, right?
I don't
Yep.
not on my end. I don't know.
So think of Verner's, but this is probably, I'd say, like 2 or 3 times stronger than Verner's.
Okay,
Really good though.
good, nice.
What about you, Matt?
I am having some Drifless Glen bourbon, and then as always, I'm having a Spotted Cow.
Very nice.
Never get enough of it.
All the classics.
Definitely 2 Wisconsin staples for sure.
Mhm.
Lance, can you let us know what we're gonna be covering today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be covering season 2 of the Eminence in Shadow. And I'm going to make this one a little bit quick since everybody should know what's going on. But we still continue to follow Sid Kagano as he continues to strive to be the Eminence in Shadow. He finally takes a new route in his adventures to learn more about himself. And we also get to learn more about the Knights of Round. And a bunch of crazy stuff happens along the way. And it's just a lot of overpowering action that we all love to watch. And it's a great time.
Definitely.
Agreed.
And Lance, I know you've got a interesting Lance's Lessons this time around. You want to let us know what that is?
Yeah, so today's Lance's Lessons is going to be the Japanese word for vampire. And the Japanese word for vampire is kyuketsuki. And kyuketsuki is spelled Kyuketsuki. And kyuketsuki is very relevant to today's episode because the first arc of season 2 revolves around vampire lore. And I thought that was pretty fitting in itself. So a good chunk of this season will follow suit to that. So yeah.
It's good to know. I did notice there was one show. I'm not 100. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they said Kanpai, and I was like, "Oh, I know what that is."
Gunpie.
Yeah, does that go all the way back to episode 1?
That sure does.
Yeah, something along that. Yeah, that was a fun one. I try to use Kanpai quite often.
It's an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to write these down so you can remember.
And for anyone that's wondering, Kanpai means cheers. So now that we got some of that stuff taken care of, Matt, you went above and beyond just like you did in season 1 with reading the light novel. You want to share with everybody what you've learned in this season?
NANI?!
Yeah, so I'm going to continue that trend and cover the light novel again because I really enjoyed the light novel and I was absolutely looking forward to continuing, but I don't want to spoil myself, so I had to wait until I watched season 2. And for anybody who has not read the light novel, season 2 ends with the second volume. Also, something that is in volume 1 that they talk about is Sid wears a mask when he is Shadow. So if you haven't listened to our first season covering Eminence and Shadow, I do go over the fact that while Sid is in shadow form, he wears a mask so nobody can see him. Another thing that I had mentioned in our previous episode was episode 1 was not in the first 2 volumes.
Yes.
Well,
I was very interested for you to explain that one because of what we all know from the anime.
Yes. It was very confusing where it was. But after listening to going through the light novel, it is an extra chapter in volume 4. That whole first episode is an extra chapter, minus the whole Sid getting hit by Truck-kun and getting isekai'd. That whole school section with his classmate getting kidnapped and the, oh man, what is it? What's his name?
His original name?
No, not, so the name that he goes by when he's wearing the mask. It's the, something soldier.
Stylish?
Stylish soldier. So it's that whole section is an extra chapter in volume 4.
Okay, so it comes much later in the light novel series, but the anime knew that it could be relevant if it was early enough, so they just plopped it in.
Exactly. And it makes more sense because they can do what they did at the end of the first episode, get him isekai'd, get all that information brought forth, because then when they have the spoiler / cliffhanger stuff, it flows better. So it makes, now that I know about this, it makes way more sense that they have the first episode as the first episode.
Right.
Instead of just being a weird, random, who the fuck is this chick first episode.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
You do know, you find out that Sid, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of the season. Sid knows about everything that's going on within the Oriana Kingdom, like where he's just kind of playing dumb within the anime. It's not so much the case in the light novel. He knows, he hears what's going on. Then his goal was to go to the Lawless City to fight the Blood Queen. He knew that she was there. Claire knows that the possession never goes away, so that is why she has so much trepidation towards it, because she knows that it's still within her. Sid still has nightly shadow meetings before he goes to the Lawless City. That is something that we talk about in season 1, where Sid and Shadow Garden are having meetings. They're having nightly meetings.
Yeah, anime just skips over all that stuff, so.
Yep. Sid got 70,000 zenny from the pickpockets.
Okay.
Elizabeth does not have that saying to Sid where it's like the blood moon is out tonight, the yada yada yada, whatever she says, that whole catchphrase that he steals. Yeah, she doesn't say that to him.
Oh no.
Oh, that was funny though.
That was definitely one of my favorite moments of this entire season, is that stupid catchphrase. It's like,
you can see it.
Like no interpretation or variation of that phrase was mentioned at all.
No, not to him. No,
okay.
Like nothing.
Basically,
does he
use it?
No. Does he use it?
Yeah.
In variations, but he doesn't say that whole phrase like he said. It makes more sense the way they say it in the anime. In the manga, in the light novel, it's a lot more convoluted. Like it's just longer.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
When Claire is crying over the body that she thinks is Sid, basically the dude's face is like all ripped up and he's just all mangled up, that's why she's sobbing over the body. Like in the anime, it's very clear that it's not Sid. in the
Right.
light novel, it's not clear. And then Elizabeth comes by. It's like, oh, I saw somebody that's very plain with black hair and black eyes. He was over that way. And she's like, oh, I guess this isn't him. It just drops him and walks away.
Okay. I mean, at least that makes a
Yeah.
little bit more sense, but in the anime, it's just a little bit more comical. But
Yeah.
Yep.
all right.
There's a lot of gruesomeness to it. It kind of tones it down without that whole scene being, without like the whole section of scenes being super gruesome.
Yeah.
The blood moon lasts for 3 days.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think they mentioned a time length.
No, they basically made it seem like it happened in like overnight. No, it's
Right.
3 days.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
One thing you can infer is that the Blood Queen, her dress is actually made of blood.
Okay.
It's her manipulating all the blood. It's pretty obvious when you like think back and you look at it. You're like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's made out of blood. Juggernaut and I call her Yuki because it's just how I remember. The Nine-Tailed Fox. They actually do fight the Blood Queen. So they all
really?
get in. Yeah, they get in on this fight before Sid shows up.
Oh, okay. Do they even like do anything? Do they stand a chance? Does it?
No, not really.
I mean, that happened to Juggernaut in the show. I mean, he kind of got smacked like real quickly.
Yeah, basically all the fights were longer in the light novel than they were in the anime, which is a little surprising.
Oh,
She has a lot more abilities. The Blood Queen. I'm drawing a blank on what her name is. That's how I remember what her name is. But she has a lot more abilities. What is
Elizabeth.
it? Elizabeth.
Yeah, I
I
wrote
thought
down Elizabeth.
Elizabeth
No.
was her maiden, like her hand servant.
Yeah.
Mary was the Well, are you talking about the vampire hunter?
No, I'm talking about the Blood Queen.
Right. I think Mary was the vampire hunter that Claire kissed and transferred over blood. But I'm pretty sure I wrote down Elizabeth was the Blood Queen.
I think it's the other way, but I could be wrong. But yes, basically the Blood Queen has a lot more abilities that she uses against Sid/Shadow. Yes, Elizabeth is the Blood Queen and Mary is the servant.
Okay.
So I had that backwards. Then she can actually turn her body into mist. So that was like a cool section of the fight is like Sid's trying to swing his sword at her and she essentially mists her body so that it misses.
Okay,
God
that's pretty
damn,
cool.
I would have loved to see that. When Claire goes into her dream state, it's all white, and then Aurora shows up and basically gives her spiel about everything. So it's not like this weird in a hospital bed kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more dramatic in like I don't want to say it's better in the anime, but it kind of makes more sense in the anime.
Yeah, I agree.
Shadow actually is fighting 4 Elizabeths at once. So she has an ability to clone herself. And yeah, so Shadow is fighting 4 of her.
Oh, that's a lot of
Okay.
information to skip out on.
Yeah, I wish they would have
Yeah.
animated that.
Right.
Right? This fight would have been so good, to be completely honest.
Oh.
And if you remember, Beta's main goal was to get a blood sample. They do make mention that she gets one from Elizabeth before they all leave.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about any and all of that.
Yeah.
They have a chapter where Claire is 8 and Sid is 6 fighting against bandits. Claire gets knocked out, but as she's like losing consciousness, she recalls some moments seeing Sid kind of protect her, which is why Claire tries so hard to get Sid to be something of himself, you could say.
Okay.
Because she wants the world to see Sid how she views him.
Mm.
And then if you remember when Beta was giving Shadow a bunch of details and she tells him that you need to burn all of your notes and he basically writes it in this
Code.
yeah, he writes it in code. So the code is as what they said was it's written in 5 different Japanese languages.
Mm-hmm.
Hiragana script, katakana script, and characters. It's Arabic numerals and Romanized Japanese.
Yep, they make mention of that.
They do make mention of that? Okay,
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, it caught me off guard because I'm like, holy shit, he put 5 different languages into one language. And he
Yep.
claimed, it was funny because he claimed that he made it up himself. But of course, it's everything from his real world. So still,
Yep.
I thought it was funny. So I remembered that scene pretty well.
All right, well, definitely
it-
something I missed.
Oh, yeah. And you wrote it down in all 5 of them. So
I had to listen to it like 8 times. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mitsugoshi has concrete, like modern concrete, not
Oh, yeah.
bricks and stuff.
Okay.
During the entire credit collapse, Sid is skipping school. It's like a week.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's still in
Okay.
school.
This whole thing happens in a very short period of time. They don't make mention of how long it actually is, but it's a short enough period of time where he can skip school and it's not an issue.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess the only mention that they have of school is his 2 friends and that throwaway episode with the tickets. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't remember anything about school.
That is a bonus episode, or like a bonus thing that's not in the light novel. Like
Okay. Not at all.
Yeah,
The
they
Dragon
made
Tier episode?
Yeah, they made it seem like that whole situation going on lasted like way longer than like a week. So
yeah, the credit collapse.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it was more than 2 weeks. So it was very short. The
Alright,
fight
so
with what's
I
up?
was trying to apply like real life logic to like some of the stuff that was happening. I'm like, that wouldn't have happened in like a week, but okay, sure, right? Anime logic, got it.
Yep.
Got it.
You have to think this is also happening in one town, so it
Yeah.
can happen a lot faster.
I
Yeah,
suppose, yeah, because it's not like credit has reached every single city in hundreds of kilometers. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the main hub in town. Another thing they make mention of, when you go to Mitsugoshi and you use their cash, you get a discount.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they were talking about how they're like not necessarily celebrating, but they were saying that the company has released their own currency, and that's why everything is on sale.
So that's I remember it's like MGA. It's but that's not Mitsugoshi. Mitsugoshi is Shadow Garden's front company.
Yeah.
hmm
And this is an everyday thing. So if you use their cash, you get a discount every day.
Right.
as opposed to using the competitor's cash.
Yeah, so the competitor had a big celebration discount, but Mitsugoshi has an everyday if you use our currency discount.
Oh, so I was blending 2 things together.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I didn't pay that close attention then.
Nope, no, that I don't think they make mention of if you use our money at our store, you get a discount. So the fight with Gatan is much longer because he keeps regenerating himself when Sid is pretty much like playing with him, and he'll like chop him, he'll regenerate and chop him again and he keeps regenerating.
Okay.
And eventually Shadow starts killing him so fast that he can't regenerate and he just kind of obliterates.
Okay.
Sid doesn't join the Oriana military nor go to prison. Like those are all, yeah, that didn't happen. Also, Sid does not tell Rose about her mother's infidelity.
Really? So Rose
Really.
never learns that her mom's touching her future husband?
Fucking perv asshat? No.
Yeah.
No.
So she never learns this information.
No.
Interesting.
That's a little
She's still-
disappointing, 'cause I thought that was very interesting.
But it's the mom dies because of perv asshat. It has
Right.
nothing to do with Rose.
Right.
Right.
And
It's just some
Her-
crazy information.
yes, but that also doesn't change Rose wanting to do whatever she can for Sid either.
True.
Like, it doesn't change anything.
I think it was
So,
more of
man,
like
that's-
a plot device in the show of Sid trying to get her to like finally be like, all right, you need to do something. Here's what's going on. Try do something, meaningful instead of just being the very timid Rose that she was being.
Yeah, because he wanted her to become the tyrant or whatever it was.
Yeah, that part was cool. Yeah, okay.
So yes, no, that she never sees that. She still puts on the ring. The mom still gets her head chopped off. Well, the mom dies. I don't remember exactly how the mom dies. Mom's dead.
It was that guy who was
Nice.
the guy at the end who turns
Yep.
into the fire hair guy.
Yeah. So all that stuff still happens. It's just the mom. You don't have the 2 mom sex scenes essentially. You just have the one.
And you don't have to worry about that sloppy ass kiss.
But yeah, that's everything. If you want to start reading the light novel, I would just read volume 4. It's going to make your life easier instead of going through to chapter 4 or volume 4. I want to say it's halfway through the book. Just start at the beginning. It'd be weird to start in the middle of a book.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the light novel. Nothing super crazy as far as differences are concerned, but some more added stuff as far as the anime is concerned this time around, which is kind of weird.
Okay. I
Like
found the
the-
dude. Oh, sorry. I was just saying. I found the dude's name the Night of Round guy. His name is Mordred.
Okay. Yep.
Wardred?
Yeah, like Mordred.
Like, okay.
Like the two friends are basically they're not in the books at all. They're not brought up.
Oh yeah,
They're not non-existent.
Potato
Sid's
and
two
the other
friends?
Yeah, the two background character friends. Yes.
guy. Okay,
Okay.
makes sense. I mean, they are useless, but
Yeah,
I can
Sid
see
doesn't
them.
go to school, so he isn't going to hang out with his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would also mean that they didn't even come to the lawless city when everyone was turning into ghouls and turn into like run away from ghouls and everything. Like,
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they might have, but no, they're
Okay.
not brought up.
So they didn't even get caught wearing like fraudulent merchandise then?
oh
Nope.
yeah, that too.
Nope,
Interesting.
that was not caught. The Goldie. Oh man, I just know he has a ridiculous name. The two guys that happened.
yeah.
That does happen.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it was very interesting. It was like, oh yeah, we had these characters from last season, so let's just make sure they're here.
Right. Try to keep everyone
Yeah.
relevant. Don't forget about them.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, that was great information. I'm glad I heard it. Definitely would have liked to see that vampire battle a little bit more, but
Fuck yeah.
I guess it's okay. I mean, this anime was still beautiful. The action scenes were still there. Everything that we loved about season 1, quality wise, I would say was pretty much still there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
did you guys pull a favorite character out of this? Ryan, you want to start?
Yeah, my favorite character was Delta. I thought
Yeah.
she was absolutely hilariously overpowered,
Oh, definitely.
but at the same time she was just undeniably loyal to
Mhm.
Shadow, and that absolutely showed in this second season on the train fight.
Yep.
Yep.
When she like smelt his scent and she's like, "Oh, this is Boss. What up, Boss? How's it going?
Right?
What do you need me to do?" So
Yeah.
she's fun. I liked her a lot. What about you guys?
I 100% agree. Delta definitely pulled through a lot more in this one. I definitely appreciated her more. She was funny. Very, very awkward sexual scenes, but other than that, like she was still funny. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I get that.
As for myself, I think I'm gonna go a little bit different. Other than Delta and Sid, I'm gonna choose Gamma as my favorite. And that's really only going to come from one scene specifically. Gamma
Okay.
was the one, bitches be tripping. She's the one that's super overpowered, but she can't use a sword worth shit. So
Yes.
I guess I didn't write it down. In one of the episodes where she's fighting that one dude and she's just fencing all terribly, but she's blowing up the top floor, and then she eventually trips and just completely obliterates everything. And the dude, he's seeing all this chaos and he's trying to run away because he doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. But anyway, I just thought that her overpower abilities is pretty cool, and I'd like to see her at least get to control that a little bit. Highly doubt she's going to control anything, because that's one thing we talked about in the last episode, is that's kind of what makes these characters cool, is they all have these insane quirks and stuff like that. And Gamma, she can't keep herself upright and she's tripping over everything, and that's what adds to the comedy. So Gamma had a really fun scene.
I like her business acumen too, because she built like Michigoshi from nothing, and Shadow was like, "What's this place? Oh, we built it for you. Oh, yeah, good job, way to go." So yeah,
You didn't build this for me. Yeah. No, that's
So yeah, I
Okay.
like that about her.
yeah, I
But
can definitely see that. For me, as far as Shadow Garden and them are concerned, I'd say Zeta was the one, like, I liked her the most as far as in this season, but I'm actually probably going to go somewhere different, and I'm going to pick Yukime
The
for my
fox.
favorite character. Yep.
Okay.
Really like the backstory on her. I like the, again, business acumen that they talk about, where she's smart enough to realize it's like, oh shit, they stole all of my money, and she could immediately figure out that, you know, she's essentially going to be the backbone / the thug, or no, she's going to be the front. I'm at the end of the season where her and Alpha are basically like, yep, we're in business together and we're going to work well. I really like that. And just her whole character arc was really good, and I really liked all the backstory and all the information that we got from her. And you know, she's a badass, so it helps.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really did dive deep into her, so I appreciated that. We almost got more information off of her than like almost any other character out of Shadow Garden itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I know in our last episode, Matt, you were talking about Delta's origin story,
Mhm.
and we still didn't even get that in this season.
Nope. We got a little bit, but that was really about it. So one thing I forgot to mention, as far as that was brought up in the light novel, is Sid's real name in his human world means shadow.
Okay.
I can...
So really staying tight to that shadow name.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but as far as Shadow Garden's concerned, I think Zeta was the most interesting. I like the fight between her and Delta when they're at the resort and basically calls her a stupid dog, because I want to say she's a fox. Let's see.
I think
She's a therianthrope. She's a cat.
Oh, she's a cat?
Yeah, she's a cat.
Oh, I guess that explains their rivalry between each other then.
Yep. So they're both therianthropes, so they're both, humanoid animals. But yeah, she's a cat. And I just like the back and forth between her and Delta and just her kind of smart ass comments that she has for everything.
Yeah. I think she also had a very small moment at the end of episode 12, like where she was in some kind of like building and she's with all the other Shadow Garden girls and they're fighting other people. And then some guy makes his appearance and he's trying to like fight her from behind. And then like Zeta has this big ass smile across her face and she looked like crazy, awesome, strong. And it goes to like the opening credit scene at that point. But like just that close up that they do, I thought that was just a really cool shot.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought she was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. She was definitely fun to learn more about. There's also another newish character that we learned more about. She had two different. Oh wait, I'm getting two people. There's one girl that had two different colored eyes, and there was another girl that had like one of her eyes closed all the time.
Yeah.
Was it 665 and 664?
Could be.
No, 5. I think it was 5 something.
Could be. I really didn't pay that close attention. Oh, I suppose I could click on these.
Only thing of the like trainer, the one that had the eye patch.
Lambda.
Yeah.
No, I think the ones I was talking about was not 664 and 665, so that's all right. Yeah, Lambda was the one that had one eye closed at all time.
I'm assuming you're talking about the one that basically like jumped in with when the mom shut up the first time. Is that who you're talking about?
Oh, maybe. I'm from season 1?
No, season 2. So we don't see Rose's mom.
Right.
So when they're doing the like sacrifice thing to try and bring when they got the ring, is that who you're talking about? It's the one that jumps in and Sid like regrows her arm.
Oh, I'm running a blank on that one.
You're like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to say it's episode 11.
Maybe. So to go with that.
I'll find it.
It's just
obviously.
I just remembered how they looked.
The recon mission was kind of lame for Rose, in my opinion. She had an opportunity to shine, then threw it away.
Yep.
That was kind of lame, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll just go with yeah. I guess one thing I want to make mention of. Are you talking about Kai? Kai? Short blonde hair?
I don't know. It's not on this character list.
There is Omega, I think is what it is. Yeah, Omega, who's got like darker short hair, and Kai. Those are the only two with short hair.
Could be. I don't know. I've got two character sheets pulled up right now, and you must be on a separate one. So, but yeah, we can
anyway,
one of those two. There's so many characters in this anime. We don't have to.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about before we really break anything down is I just want to talk about something that bugged me the entire season.
Okay.
It's how much anime logic the entire season was.
Yeah.
And it bugged me because it was like, well, I need to do this, and this just happened to fall in place, and this just happened to, like, the entire season was just, and it just happened to work this way, and that kind of bugged me.
Right. I thought that way too. It also gives this appearance that like maybe this anime feels like it's on fast forward like the entire time, and they could really spend a little extra time flushing out some more details just to bring up the story more into focus and make you appreciate more of the scenes. But there's just so much.
But they followed the light novel to a T almost.
Oh yeah. Oh, I suppose. It's just so crazy. I feel like they could have really just sat for a moment and just shared a little bit more. I don't know. It's like kind of like they were trying to do too much at once, and I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt a little.
I mean, I kind of agree with the whole anime logic thing, and I've been noticing a lot of animes I've been watching where it's like, I need this to happen. It makes them a lot more predictable. Where it's like, all right, this is going to happen. All right, this has happened. All right, yeah, I kind of expect that to happen. But I kind of prefer when you don't see something coming.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, you're the bad guy. I didn't see that coming. All right, let's see where this goes. So,
Yeah, like the end of the season. I was not expecting that. Not in the slightest.
Yeah,
not
that's a
at
good point.
all.
I could pretty much say like there was not that I expected much out of this anime to begin with, but like I wasn't shocked by anything except for the final half of the final episode. Like that was pretty interesting. I like that shocker.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming. That was a good one.
And that's something I want to talk about because as far as season 3 is concerned, how much time do you think like how far into the future do you think we are?
This kind of threw me off because I don't think there's a correct like parallel time scale going on here because Nishino, the girl from episode 1 and the end of episode 32, came back to the picture. When we first got to see her again, she explained that she was in her 20s, and that threw me off a little bit because if we kind of do some rough math, when we first learned about them in episode 1, they're probably beginning high school. So they're probably pushing around 14 to 16 years right there. And then
I think they're second year high school or first year high school. Yeah, I think you're right. First year high school students.
Right. So something around that realm, just do some rough math. And then Sid dies, gets reborn into a new world. And then we know he's about, again, 14 to 16 right now, right? So we're pushing about 30 years. Well, we have to be assuming that another 14 to 16 years has passed on to Nishino. So she should be actually pretty much in her early 30s, and she says she's in her 20s. So it's throwing me off a little bit.
So this is
Mariana
saying
Kingdom.
she's 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Just looking at the character list, it's saying she's 17 when we first meet. So Sid is 17. They must be like at their last year of high school or something like that.
Okay.
And she is currently 20 as of volume 4.
Interesting. Okay. So the whole rebirth of Sid Kagano doesn't reflect those 3 years that she's been alive. So I wonder if they're going to explain that in some way, or if it's just going to be time dimension jumping, anime logic, or anything along those lines.
That's my guess.
Lance, do you have a favorite moment?
Oh, I should have thought about this one a little bit more, actually. I guess I have 2 moments that really come to my mind. And the first one's going to be, I love the whole first arc with the Blood Red Moon.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really call a moment out per se at that of what I liked the most. I just liked it all in general. But
it is very up your alley.
Yeah. It's got all the dark stuff. It's vampires, ghouls. You know what? I'm just going to have to stick with that. It's not a favorite moment right now. There's lots of little moments I like, but I just love that arc so much because we're starting to get dark and scary. And I guess I can say the same thing about the finale of episode 12 because that one's starting to get a little dark and a little eerie. And I'm very interested to see what's going on in this destroyed world. But I love ghouls. So I'm all about that. There was blood. There was just chopping, hacking, and slashing. It was all about it. I wish I would have saw a little bit more of Mary, the ancient vampire hunter, just kind of more in the sense of like her sticking around and being, I don't know. I wasn't going to say not a member of Shadow Garden, but like a partner in some way. But of course, why? There's no need for that. So I don't know. Just wishful thinking.
Okay. Yep.
Be a little vague on that. Ryan, did you have a favorite moment or anything like that?
So I guess my first favorite moment isn't really like anything super important to the story. It's just kind of, I see it in myself as I would do the same thing. But when Sid got pickpocketed and he just steals back his wallet and the other guy's wallet and then just keeps going, I'm like, yeah, I totally would do that. That's me. But I think for me, when he was basically he's like, all right, this economy thing's kind of messed up. We need to go ahead and tackle this. And we're going to do it in the most like gangster way possible. I'm going to go rob this other gang, steal all their money, and then create a credit crisis. And when there's a collapse, I'll be good because I stole all this other gang's money. I think that's probably one of my favorite like situations in the show or this particular season.
Yeah,
other than some of the fights, of course.
Yep. Yeah, the fights were all super good. I'm going to go super basic and say I Am Atomic again as my favorite moment. I loved that moment just in space.
So the last one I was gonna say, do you have a specific one? Because there was the reverse one, and then there was the
planetary one.
The planet, yeah. I don't know how to describe that voice that he used. It was definitely different than season 1. It sounded like some kind of voice recording thing was, I don't know how to describe it, but
Yeah, the very last one. No, that one was my favorite, just the planetary. I thought it was super awesome. I don't know. The season as a whole was really good. There was nothing like one specific moment that's like, yep, this is the best part. I did really like the hack and slash from the Lawless City. I thought that was really good. We got to see Shadow actually do stuff, which was really cool.
Going back to your moment with I Am Atomic, the battle with the dragon was pretty interesting. I like that they had some super giant Yu-Gi-Oh looking dragon come and wreaking havoc. But what I didn't like is after it got destroyed, essentially being sliced into pieces by his warriors, that Mordred, the main guy of the Knights of Round that we know of, all he did was like stick his head into that dragon, and then he like transformed into this fiery head lobster looking boss guy, and he really didn't do a whole lot. Did you guys pick up anything cool out of him?
So
Not really.
one thing I will say, in the light novel, he ate that thing.
Oh, okay.
And that's what caused the metamorphosis to happen. It was still basically a letdown where he was useless.
Yeah.
And Shadow was able to kill him very quickly, but it wasn't like a fusion thing.
Yeah, it was so weird. I mean, he was only in existence for like maybe a solid minute of anime time, not even, because that whole fight in the anime was the first half of the episode, which was kind of quick if you think about it. But
Yep.
his character design was interesting. Like I said, his fiery hair and some kind of form of lobster arms threw me off. And I was expecting like the final boss just to be a little bit more flashy. But of course, we got an OP character doing his I Am Atomic, and that's all that really matters. So it's okay in that aspect.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. And going back to something I think either you or Matt mentioned about the fight with the Blood Queen. I enjoyed that fight because yes, you get to see him actually like throw down. And honestly, that was probably like one of the coolest things other than in the first season when he fought the Witch of Calamity at the tournament.
Yep.
And like, man, we need more of these fights. But I feel like it wouldn't be conducive because the world around him wouldn't be able to hold up to those fights. So I can understand why they wouldn't do that, but I want to see more of those fights.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, I do completely agree.
Speaking of the Witch of Calamity, she's pretty much put herself into Sid's sister, Claire.
That's a very weird way to put it, but okay. Yep.
I meant like, maybe not put herself inside her, but like, what exactly happened? Does the witch have a way to possess Claire whenever she wants, or what's up with these tattoos? Did you guys have any more extra information to share that like might explain a little bit more?
I don't, other than when she appeared during the Blood Queen fight. I don't know much more outside of that. Was it mentioned more in the novel, Matt?
The marking, no. I will say, if you remember from season 1, essentially Aurora is the original demon, and they're all supposed to have this demon blood in them. So I wonder if it's kind of like a Mazaku thing where they can take over. If you're strong enough, it can like imbue itself into these people.
Maybe because we saw that she was able to take over Claire, use her body. Claire's body wasn't even strong enough to handle all of the witch's attacks. Like it was basically breaking down and it needed to repair herself. So it's very interesting. And I do expect to see a lot more of the Calamity showing up in some way I don't know how Claire is going to make an appearance in season 3 or beyond, if we're going to be jumping between all these different universes, but I would still like to see the Witch of Calamity because she's supposed to be super strong.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Maybe you guys can
back to the real world in their slime. She's back in the real world now.
Can you guys explain something to me? So we have Aurora, who's supposed to be derived of everything, but then we also have the vampires who are supposed to be derived of everything.
I have no real connection. I don't know.
Are they supposed to be like vampire demon fusion things, and that's where everything's coming from? Because that's what
Maybe
Yeah.
the only thing that I might be able to throw at this is what they explained when Mordred was explaining the connecting points between all these universes, because he made a comment that the world Earth never knew about magic until there was that one point in time where two universes collided for a moment, and then all of a sudden all the dinosaurs, or not dinosaurs, they showed dinosaurs, but they're talking about dragons, and all the dragons disappeared, and the ones who were powerful enough to withstand the magic powers were the ones that survived. So I'm wondering if when universes collide with each other, that was the introduction of the vampires being some kind of origin source, and then another moment of interaction happened, and then that was the Witch of Calamity or something like that. So that's the only kind of bone that I might be able to throw at the anime other than anime logic.
Okay.
That's actually pretty logical. It makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Where like maybe the world where the Witch Calamity was, she was that. And like you said, when there was that cross point, then the vampires came in, but they never knew about each other because their cities were too far apart. So
Right.
Yep. Okay. That would make sense. I hope we get more information. I feel like Claire is going to be the driving point. Do you think she's going to be a part of Shadow Garden?
I kind of hope she does.
Okay.
But then again, this anime is borderline like satire, especially when we start talking about just insane OP over just anime logic stuff. So right now she's the bigger sister that wants to protect Sid, even though Sid's really the one protecting her.
Yep.
I think the more she's going to learn about the Witch of Calamity, the more she's going to realize the truth about the real world and Shadow and his garden. I don't know. I can see in the end, I was going to say she's definitely going to learn the truth about Sid at some point, but to join Shadow Garden, maybe. I can see her. No, I can't say that either. I was about to say she's going to get some of Sid's slime powers, but she's already got the Witch of Calamity in her. So why would she need slime powers on top of that? You know what? I have no idea. There's so much that can happen.
So
Yeah, she doesn't.
Here's my devil's advocate thing to that. So going back to what you were mentioning earlier about how she wants the world to see Sid the way that she sees him, I feel like her joining Shadow Garden or learning about him being Shadow would be kind of a detriment to what he really wants to do, because she'll be like, oh, you are this powerful. All right, I'm telling everybody about you. And then he immediately goes from being the background character and the Eminence and Shadow to being the main character that everybody's trying to hunt down and find out about. So,
all right.
I don't know.
No, I really like that.
Yeah, he can't be up in front. He can't be the center of attention. So he has to remain anonymous at all times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's really good. That's a really good point.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her as part of Shadow Garden because she's a strong fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And the situations they find themselves in, that would make for some pretty good anime fights. So
yes. And then I guess my other question is, do you think at one point her and Shadow are going to fight as like the Witch of Calamity versus Shadow?
That's going to throw me off a little bit, because now I'm wondering if Claire's only going to be powerful when the Witch of Calamity straight up takes over. And it's not just a transfer of power, it's a possession. So I wonder if Claire is going to get some kind of a power boost from this tattooed possession deal, or if it's just a transfer of consciousness or something. So I don't actually know.
I think that if Aurora was to come back and fight Sid at some point for any type of reason, I don't think she would use Claire's body.
Okay.
I think she'd find someone else's body. Now, Sid, he'll fight whoever because he's Sid and Shadow, and he doesn't really care that much. I mean, he thinks that the Cult of Diablos was something he made up, but it was real. I mean,
right.
So I think that if it was to come down to Aurora trying to take over Claire's body to fight Sid, there'd be that anime internal conflict of, oh, that's Sid. I can't fight my brother, so I'm going to just stop you type thing. So she would have to find another way to manifest herself into the real world. So
I feel like it'd be the other way around. It would be Shadow trying to stop Claire from fighting him. Because remember, nobody knows Shadow is Sid unless you're a part of Shadow Garden.
Sure.
Because he wears a mask so nobody can see him. And so if Claire is fighting Shadow, she wouldn't know.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about the mask deal in the light novel. So That would make a little bit more sense too, because he's the only. I mean, I was about to say, I mean, unless we're gonna pull some like original 1980s Superman shit where Superman is just wearing glasses and you can't tell who he is. It's just that simple little mask really makes all the difference. But I mean, he's still wearing a hood. It's in the dark, and he's got a mask. It's hard to really pinpoint who he is. He never fights in the daylight, so.
Nope.
Ooh, that just also. Sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. Sid made mention that he's been working on a teleporting technique.
Does
when
he?
Yeah, when he was about to go into Rose's mansion, and then he was picked up by Epsilon. He was like, "Okay, well, I could jump over this fence, or I can do this new shadowy teleportation deal." And like, just as he was finishing that thought, he was stopped by Epsilon in that carriage, and then she picked him up and brought him in. So the word teleport definitely came up. So I wonder if that's it. Of course, it could just mean that he's just super fast, and it could appear as if he's teleporting, because we all know just how OP he is.
Yep.
And quick question. This is just my like weird brain working. So everyone in Shadow Garden knows that Shadow is Sid. And we also know that Claire is his sister. So there have been multiple situations where Shadow Garden members have saved Claire's life. Claire's supposed to be one of the smartest students at this school. You don't think she'd put 2 and 2 together at some point?
So only I believe it's only the original 7 that know Sid is Shadow. I don't think it's everybody within Shadow Garden.
Yeah, that can make some sense.
And then as far as your second part, you would more anime logic, where she's just oblivious to the most obvious of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that all makes sense enough. So I can share one of my favorite LOL moments.
Okay.
And it's going back to Ryan's favorite character, Delta.
Okay.
When they're on the train and Sid/Shadow is trying to figure out how to get rid of Delta to go on a secret mission. They're like, "Oh yeah, go back to the lawless city and go fight Juggernaut." And she's like, "Well, Black Jugga Jugga?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, go fight him." So the baby talk, that kind of the simplicity of her conversations that comes out, it's kind of funny. So I got a nice little chuckle out of Black Jugga Jugga.
Yeah, that was funny. That was pretty funny. Man, he totally destroyed that train car too.
Oh yeah,
fighting Delta, like trapped in her threads. She like tried to flex out of it, destroy the train car, and then she like caught a whiff of his scent. It's like, oh, all right, we're good now. We don't have to fight anymore. Yep, that's exactly how logic works in real life.
Yeah, it just shows how powerful she is.
Well, I mean, she did just decapitate her brother with no thought, so.
Oh yeah, there was that too.
Yeah, she did do that.
Quick question. When you guys were watching this anime and we learned about the brother, the father, and then we got introduced to the Catan, the other guy with the slice eyes, did you guys start to think that Catan was Delta's father?
No.
No? That was my first thought. And then I started thinking about it, like, there's no way. They're not connected at all. So, but it just crossed my mind for a second. Like, I think they might be related, but yeah. No.
I just want to kind of go into more funny moments with Delta. After she chops her brother's head off and it's like, "Oh, I have a good idea. We can go back to my village and you can kill everybody there and we can just have 1,000 babies." It's like,
I remember that.
Like, no, just flat no.
So monotone about it too. Like he Sid's so funny in that when he has to repeat himself like that all the time.
Yeah, it's not a new concept to him where he just expects this from Delta and he's just like, no, not happening. No.
Just another day with Delta, yeah.
And again, when he's trying to find the gold, quote unquote, that's buried, and Delta's like, "Well, you promised you could do anything," and he's like, "No, I promised I could do anything." It's like anything within my power or something.
Yeah. And then she called him out on it, and like he knew he was wrong when he was trying to like get himself out of it, so that he's trying to wiggle himself free. But yeah, that little promise he made to her, that was pretty good.
Well, he does promise her anything within his power,
right?
To begin with.
There was one funny moment that I thought was dragged on 10 times too long. And
okay.
I loved it at first, but of course, I don't know who this anime thinks they're appealing to. But when Sid goes and finds all of that jewelry inside a hidden room, he's looking at pictures, he's looking at jeweled items.
Oh, it's in the Red Tower.
The Red Tower, yeah. And then he ultimately just says, like, screw it, I'm just going to take the gold coins because that's cash. And then when he goes to protect the rest of the Shadow Garden girls, he's accidentally using his coins as deflection points, and then he's making the
Yeah.
joke, I can't lose anymore, and all the girls
Yeah.
behind him are like, oh, he's talking about us, he can't lose anymore, but to him, he's losing more money because that's all he honestly cares about. And they dragged that on. It was very obvious, the joke, and it hit right away, but they said it like 10 more times, and the girls behind him are like, oh, you're so awesome, and I just needed it to not be that long.
Yeah. That
Understandable.
was fun.
Yep.
That was funny though. Oh,
It was,
I'm losing so much right now.
yeah.
I can relate to Sid. Like, if that was like a real thing, if isekai was real, that would be me totally.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Especially if you have not necessarily future knowledge, but you have better knowledge of how things can work, and you have a better understanding of their magic than they do, and you're just this OP person. Of course, you're just gonna just get rich and be amazing, take care of yourself, and then you have to sit
Right.
there and sacrifice your money to protect everyone else. It's gonna be a sad moment financially.
Well, he's not using the money for protection. It's just embedded into his slime. So when he's blocking,
yeah,
You know, that
gets-
makes more sense. Yeah.
yeah,
and
I can't afford to lose anymore.
yeah.
oh Sid or Shadow, yeah,
Mhm.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
yeah, that was super funny. I guess I know we've talked a lot about season 2. Is there any expectations as far as season 3 is concerned?
Ryan, I'll let you start.
I kind of just want to go in blind, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Like this show for me in general kind of came out of nowhere, especially since I couldn't watch it on Crunchyroll. So
Yep.
I'm like, well, I'll just kind of wait, and I just went into it blind. Watched first season, then the second season came out. All right, I'll go ahead and subscribe to High Dive. So I watched it, and I'm like, all right, this is good. But along with all the other stuff that I'm trying to keep up with, I kind of just want to go into this one blind and be surprised rather than go into it with a little bit of knowledge like I'm doing with almost everything else that I'm watching. So
Okay.
Understandable.
So no expectations, no wants or needs.
want more action, need less politics.
Fair.
Get that.
I'd be surprised if there was any more politics that were like if season 3 were to come into play. I think I guess that's going to come out of what I'm hoping for, but I don't expect any politics. I think it's just going to be pretty much chaos out of season 3.
Yeah, I think they went down that route, and now they're gonna find a new lane
Trope.
to go into. Yeah.
Yeah. I just expect pretty much chaos coming out. I think now that we've tapped into Ultimate Dimensions realms, like they called it, I just think there's going to be just a variety of wannabe overpowered guys trying to fight Sid and him trying to figure out how to get back home. And I would like to see more crossovers of the universe. And I guess the biggest thing that we need to keep in mind too is when Mordred was explaining all of these other realms, everything is revolving around a single point. And he explained how he doesn't know what's going on, but he's in the process of trying to figure it out. So
Yep.
it's making me start to think that if they can figure out this center point of revolutionary deal, maybe we can start to come towards an end of a story. I don't know how this story is going to end. What's the purpose of ending this story? So I don't know. Maybe it gives it a reason for separating all these universes, uniting all these universes, or I don't know.
I see that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, so crazy action, especially one of
Dude.
these realms had magical beasts that have high power. I want to see some more fights with Sid in that. So that's what I want to see.
Well, there's definitely that. Do you think OG Earth is gonna have magic, or is Sid gonna be the only one?
That's interesting.
That was my first thought at the end of that episode. I'm like, okay, he's back. He's still wearing the slime suit,
Yep.
but he manifested freaking crowbars.
That I feel like that's just a throwback to the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's not the first time he's done the crowbars thing during him being in the other world.
Yep.
I think there will be magic in the OG world, but
Okay.
it's gonna be like kind of an Age of Discovery type thing,
Okay. And basically
he-
the people. Sorry, continue.
where like Sid already knows how to use his magic and all that stuff,
Yep.
but you're just gonna have people trying to discover it and understand how to use it and everything like that.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling I feel like it's there's gonna be people in power, and those are probably the only ones that can use magic. And so then he's gonna have to fight them. Basically gonna be the OG Earth Knights of Rounds people.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Anything else you want out of this, Matt?
I have a feeling. Oh man, what's her name? The Akane Nishino. Is that what it is? Nishino. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling she's gonna come into play somehow, just because they introduced her in the original episode. They reintroduced her in the season finale. She is in the light novel, so I feel like she's gonna come into play somewhere. So I'm very curious about how and why.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, I thought what was funny is that Matt, you and I complained about her in our last episode. Like, why the hell was she even in this anime to begin with? Now it's clear. Now she's going to have some kind of role to play. So I'm, yes, very interested in seeing why she's going to be important.
Yep. But that's my only expectation, is to learn more about her.
Okay.
Yeah. Really looking forward to season 3.
Season 3, and even before then, the supposed movie that I kind of came across. Did I see that right? There's a movie coming out soon.
Let me use the power of the internet. Late 2024.
Okay, yeah. So there's a movie.
Yep. It's going to be an original anime film, so it's not going to be
light novel sourced,
canon to the movie or canon to the series, but it's going to be within the series or within the spectrum of the series.
Sure.
All right.
So it's just gonna be more random, fun bullshit.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be great animation. It's just gonna be some knee slappers, and then that one final I Am Atomic to finish off that final boss, whoever's it's gonna be. So that's what I'm gonna expect out of that movie.
It's going to be called Lost Echoes, by the way.
Okay.
Very interesting.
I kind of want to see someone survive I Am Atomic just to see what would happen next.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's going to be the head of rounds.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to take just the absolute top person to survive.
Do you guys think the head of rounds is from a whole different realm, seeing that Mordred is already aware of other realms and all that stuff? So I'd imagine that it's just a combination of people from all different dimensions working together to conquer everything in general.
Could be like Sid's predecessor. Like, they came to this world prior to Sid coming to this world.
Damn. That would be insane. We do know they're immortal, so...
Oh, really? I missed out on that part.
From season 1, it's the priest. He was one of the original people. He was one of the original researchers. And they each get a pill that they have to take every year to continue their immortality.
That's right. I remember that.
So even if Sid were to blow them up, they wouldn't die, or
no, they'll die, but they're not going to age like they do like a normal person.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense then. Yeah, I can roll with that.
So, be a very interesting concept. I know, Ryan, one thing that I had mentioned in our previous episode is Sid's goal is to live to be, I think it's 200 years.
Yeah, he made a mention like that. Like, I think he said 300 in this one. Something along those lines.
Okay.
It's 200 or 300. Either way, he can have a very long life, and he wanted to have enough riches to get himself through it. So,
yep.
There's that.
Yep, so that's his goal. That's why money is so important.
Gotcha. That seems like in the grand scheme of things, not like a super long time.
No, but we don't know. While the elves...
Oh, well, elves can live a long time.
We don't know how long they live, because depending on the fantasy world that you partake in, some elves live essentially forever. Some elves live for like 200-300 years. So what is the lifespan of an elf in this world? Granted, we do know about what Lantz and I speculated as the aunt of at least Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably a few hundred years old. Isn't that what we thought of? Lantz, I don't remember exactly.
Beatrix, yeah, she was definitely old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be very interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out.
But yeah, that's... do you guys have anything as far as Eminence and Shadow you want to talk about?
I touched on everything that I could think of.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I really want to talk about just anime talk in general, because we're getting towards the end. Actually, by the time we launch this, we will have gotten to the end of the winter season, and I'll be completely honest, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I can agree. I'm very happy with everything that I've been watching in general. I know, Matt, you and Ryan have been watching Freyren. So that's a very hot and popular anime. So I have yet to partake in that. Of course, we'll cover that at some point soon.
Fuck yeah.
But despite how little anime we've gotten this season compared to the past 2 seasons, the quality is still there. I'm very happy with everything myself.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been watching so Freerin, Mashal.
Yep.
Mashal is hilarious. And if you're
So good.
like even if you don't watch anime, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you should watch it. It's
Absolutely.
so good. I've been watching, of course, everyone's been watching Solo Leveling.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone's watching Solo Leveling. Gotta.
That one. I can't even remember what else I've been watching.
Shangri-La Frontier.
Yeah, SLF. Been watching that, and The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic.
I need to watch more of that one, but yep.
Okay,
So,
I need to start watching that one.
Yeah,
It's
that
good.
That one kind of surprised me, but those have been primarily the ones I've been watching. My buddy's been trying to get me into other shows that have been already kind of well established a little bit. I just haven't yet. Like one keeps harping on is called Bungo Stray Dogs.
Yep. That's
Heard
on
of it.
season 4.
Yeah. So
That one I heard it's fantastic.
Yeah, so I made it through like halfway through the first season, and it's good. It doesn't quite scratch the fantasy itch that I like, but there's definitely stuff there for people that like that type of thing. Other than that, I've just been rolling through different isekais.
Yep, I know that life. I've watched a bunch of isekais recently. Definitely SLF, fantastic. Freyren's fantastic. Season 3 of Classroom of the Elite. Been a good quality season. Nothing super nothing like not as good as season 1. Probably about on par with season 2. So pretty decent. Nothing crazy though. Then Solo Leveling. I'm slightly disappointed in Solo Leveling. Like, just to be completely honest, I feel like it hasn't been living up to the hype. Now season 2 might be better.
Right.
But season 1 it's been good. It's just been good. It's not been what I expected it to be.
Right. And just for all of our listeners right now, because this episode's not going to launch for a couple more weeks. So when you hear this, it's going to be completed. Where we are right now, we're 3/4 of the way through the season, and there's spikes. It's like every other episode is really, really good, and then it's like, okay, let's slow down, and then it's really good, and then blah, blah, blah. And then I totally get it. It's great, and it's not that great at the same time.
Yeah, it's been just a good quality, but nothing absolutely fantastic.
I think the title of last week's episode sums it up perfectly. This is frustrating. So
Yes.
So yeah, I get it. It's good though. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll continue. Like when season 2 gets announced, I'll be all for it. But it's not lived up to the hype of what the internet said it was going to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe that's me setting too high of expectations, but it's just not been as good as I was hoping it was going to be.
Well, I think it is. So have you read any of the mangas for it?
I have not.
So they move crazy fast, like crazy fast. So what I think is happening is the rate at which the show is moving compared to how the manga moved is a lot slower paced, which is kind of annoying because like by, I think it's like book 2, it's crazy. I think so far we're only like maybe halfway through the first book.
Okay.
But even what happens in the rest of the first book would be like an entire season for like a normal anime. Okay,
that's good to know. That's really good to know.
And yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of like who directed The Departed? Scorsese.
Okay. Yep.
It's going to be something like that where it's like, okay, this is moving up. Oh, okay, this is so
okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I definitely like the MC, how he's like so unaware of how actually strong he is compared to everyone else, only because of the flawed system in that world.
Yep.
But
yeah,
it's good. It's going to make sense.
Good. I'm really looking forward to it. It's like I said, the concept's really cool. I think season 1 has just been probably too slow. I feel like there's been more opportunity for like hour-long episodes to kind of make everything a little bit neater as far as this series is concerned.
Right.
Maybe ultimately this will be a good binger.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those that it needs more exposition than what's been given for people to be more grabbed into it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yep. And like you said, this has been frustrating.
Yes. Yes.
I have been watching The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. I'm only like 6 or 7 episodes in. I'm not quite all the way caught up. Tales of Wedding Rings. I was like, that's weird. I heard a lot of people be like, oh, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. A lot of boobs. That's not what I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's interesting concept. And then Chain Soldier. I don't know if you've watched that one, Ryan.
Mm-mm.
I think it's hilarious. Also another interesting concept. Did you ever watch Twin Star Exorcist?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
I think it's kind of a modern take on that with oh man, what else? It's a combination between that and what's the other one? What's another one I'm thinking of? Or am I just drawing a blank on something?
I know what you mean, because when I made a quick video on it, I said that it was like a mix between that and something else. And now that we're put on the spot, I can't think. But yeah, it's like a modern Twin Star Exorcist, and it's pervy goodness.
Yes, it's funny. It's very funny.
It's got some great action scenes, fighting, transformations. It's got a little bit of everything in a weird way.
Not something you want to watch in the daylight with your windows open. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
One that I picked back up recently was Date A Live.
Okay, yep.
Because I saw like a random post somewhere that there's going to be a season 5. I'm like, I didn't know there was a season 3. So I've been catching up on that, which it did something that I don't like just in modern entertainment, where they take this one character that you just kind of hate the entire time and then kind of make you like empathize and sympathize for them. And I'm like, that's lame. Why would you? No, I'm supposed to hate this person for the entire time. And you've gone and ruined it for me. Good job. There you go. But still good. Still good show. I like it.
Okay. It seems very interesting. The icons and the first episode don't match, so it threw me off. I need to watch more.
For Day Live?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah. Another isekai I watched. I don't know if you've watched it. High school prodigies have it easy even in another world. Another mouthful of a name.
So good. It was weird how good that was.
It was good. Okay, I don't even recognize that title.
I like it.
It's got pervy moments, not Chain Soldier pervy. Nothing's actually seen, but it's got innuendos. Okay. It is surprisingly good. Just don't try and tell anybody the name.
I think one of the favorite things from that one was the shop, when they set up their shop.
Yes.
That whole situation was so good. I'm like, yes, this is how things should be. Another isekai I just watched recently was The Aristocrats' Otherworldly Adventure.
Nope, I haven't watched that one.
Oh, you said Aristocrats. It was making me think we just covered an Aristocrat ones, maybe that one, but no.
No.
So kid gets isekai'd into another world where they have deities. And in this world, on I think it's like your 5th birthday or something, you'll get baptized. And then you get protections from a deity that chooses to protect you. And you also have like a stat screen, which you can pull up, which doesn't make sense in this show, but it's there. Yeah. And the average stats for people, like if you get really, really lucky, you can get like 5, like a max of 5 from one god. That's a huge deal in that world. So there's 7 gods. He gets max stats of 10 from all the gods.
Okay,
at
so
the
he's okay.
At the age of 5. Like there's one scene when I think he was 7, and he goes into a forbidden forest, kills all the monsters, and doesn't know what's going on or why they won't come near him. So he opens up his status screen and he's like, well, let me check my level. Uh-oh, I've got these titles now. What? Enemy to all monsters and Dragon Slayer. What? So really good. It's actually pretty wholesome for what it is, which is kind of shocking.
Okay.
And it's short, 12 episodes, like most animes that don't succeed. And I liked it. I thought it was really good. Good animation.
That sounds a lot like another one that I'm drawing a blank on.
It sounds a lot like a lot of isekais.
Yeah, true.
You were just, when you started describing it, I had like 3 different anime in my head, and you just went in a different direction. Yeah. But yeah,
Banished from the Hero Party was one that I really enjoyed. Season 2 is currently out, and I watched season 1. I really enjoyed that one.
Quick question: have either of you started Ninja Kamui yet?
No, I think I might have it on my to watch list, but I haven't started it. No.
Yeah, I need to. I've been told I need to watch that one. And then my friend just mentioned a manga to me that apparently the internet's going crazy for right now. And it only has one chapter out. Kagurabachi.
Well, that's definitely up my alley. Lance has just started his manga journey thanks to our Short Flight series.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got just a couple manga things. It's not like I'm diving into manga only stuff like that. So yeah, I don't have anything to share for what might be hot in the future.
Yeah, Kagurabachi, everybody's calling it the JJK killer, and it's only got one chapter out. I'm like, good grief. That's a bold claim.
Yeah, right. Very interesting. I guess we'll have to see. Maybe someone who gave the green light for this manga saw the entire story and just knew.
Yeah. I mean, the start of it, so I got like the start of the synopsis for like how it started. I was kind of hooked. It sounded really good. Where it's like this world it's based on like swords or something. And what's that? Yeah, that's it. And,
synopsis: there is a human hunting case which has thrown a town into confusion. The culprit is a vampire. A boy wielding a sword appears in front of a violent vampire.
Something like special with a sword that's significant.
Vampires.
I mean, there's vampires. Almost anything with vampires is good, except for what was that? Rosario Vampire. That was kind of lame.
It's been a minute since I've watched a vampire anime. I don't remember what the last one I saw was. I liked it a lot. It was a long time ago.
I need to finish Hellsing Ultimate.
Lance, remind us, what are you watching right now?
For all our listeners, this last season, I'm covering Undead Unluck. I'm covering Ragna Crimson, which is also on High Dive.
That popped up for something I should watch.
I absolutely love the entire season. It's a full season. It's going to be a complete 24. Absolutely amazing. So much action. Really love it. And then I'm also covering Metallic Rouge. So got 3 great anime. They're all going great. Metallic Rouge, I was kind of up and down on. Like, okay, this is good. This is a little boring. It's good. It's boring. All in all, it's still a great anime. I'm glad I'm watching it / watched it. And I think it's worth a quick cover in the future if we need to. So it's got a lot of classic feels to it. So like regular, I can say that, like Cowboy Bebop vibes sometimes. Like It's like today's quality of animation if Cowboy Bebop was to be updated. So that's kind of how I feel about this story in general. And it's just it's interesting enough. It's got space, it's got transformations, it's got androids. So it's interesting enough. Definitely not a top 10 kind of anime in general, but I think it's worth a talk. It's fun.
Nice.
I'll say this: not all old anime should be remade. The remake of Trigun, wasn't a huge fan. The remake of Rurouni Kenshin, that kind of hurt my soul a little bit.
Especially with you being Rurouni on your number 2.
It's such a cool story.
It is. It's a fantastic story.
And if you guys have not seen the live actions, there's 3 of them. You should watch them. They're all fantastic.
I'm through 2 of them. I need to finish I need to watch the last one.
Yes. And
but
also,
definitely top tier live action.
And also on the topic of live action movies that are anime adaptations. So yes, Netflix did do their freaking soup sandwich that was the Death Note movie, which was terrible, and no one should ever watch that version of it. But in 2008, Japanese did 3 Death Note movies, and the first 2 were good. The third one didn't really matter because it didn't follow the story. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. But the first 2, really, really good. Like, fantastic. Like, I owned them on Blu-ray. They were that good. So,
nice.
Really? Oh, I've never heard about the Japanese versions.
Yeah, it was back in 2008. The first one follows the anime and manga really, really, really closely. The second one does for like 2/3 of the movie. And then the last third, they kind of veer off because you see that you kind of get the sense that, okay, this is a movie. We're not going to have like 50 of these things. We have to end it somehow type vibe. But
Sure.
They still did a good job at ending it. But yeah, those 2, if I don't know where to find them online, but if you can track those down, they're definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yes. But I guess those are my suggestions for what people should check out if they haven't already.
Fair enough.
Unwatchable Death Note movies from Japan. Got it.
Not unwatchable.
Or
Not or unfound.
Oh, unfind. Yeah, I can't find them. I don't know where you can find them, but you should check them out. They're probably on Amazon. Like, you can probably buy them there for like a couple dollars.
Probably.
So they got everything.
All right, so I think that's going to be enough content for today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us this far. If you have, that means you like us. So please leave us a rating on whatever platform you're listening to us on, because that would help us a lot. Also, please go support us on YouTube, where we have our Anime Lounge Short Flight series, where we cover hot new anime every single week. We got a lot of content there, so it'd be a lot of help if you saw all those videos as well. And if you could also support the AnimazeShow on Facebook and Instagram, you can stay up to date on everything anime related, anything that's in the near future for anime content. They already know what's going on, so you can get some good information there. And until next time, we'll see you guys.
Have a good one.
I am